Hey friends, welcome back. It's been a while since I put a video out, but we're back at it now, and we are starting this year with the Sentir Criterium in Bixby, Oklahoma, and this race is the Masters 40 to 49 race. This was early in the morning. The weather was fantastic, and I won this race last year. It was a solo breakaway and got kind of lucky on the move and stuck it this year. Definitely a lot more horsepower in the field, so probably not going to be likely today for me, and I know that going into it. Notably, there's some heavy hitters in this field. Yanni, all you locals know Yanni well, and Austin and Nick from Cura Racing. They are always strong, great bike racers, and Austin had a very successful Masters race just the week before where I think he lapped the field, honestly, maybe even a couple of times. So everyone's got some pretty good legs on them, and there's been a few races, so everyone's kind of tuned up. So I'm not coming out here overly confident, and just going to try to play it smart. So Troy's back out here with me. He's just on the left side of the screen here with the red shoes on, and he forgot his kit, so he's not in his team kit. But we were ready to go again and defend the title, hopefully. So so first lap gets going, and I will say this was a pretty tough day. So we had an average speed of, I think Strava had me at 26.1 miles per hour average, and I had I think an average power of like 282 and a normalized of 324 or something like that. So really hard, like shockingly hard. And that can happen sometimes in these smaller fields too, because there's not as many places to hide. So you kind of get stuck having to close gaps and things like that, and that power can kind of shoot up there. So, and a note on the power, I did do the overlay, but for some reason I think the power's not showing up, so I think the file's corrupt. Been having some issues with that. I can't export a TCX from Strava like I used to be able to. They want to export GPX, and for some reason it doesn't jive with Dashware, so still trying to figure that out. I apologize, but I'm working on it. I'm not the most tech savvy guy, and I'm a grandpa now, so technology tends to elude me in general. So anyway, just getting going, and also we have Dan Larson in this field. You can't ever forget about Dan. He doesn't have any teammates out in the field, but he is always strong. And going up on the left there is Micah Newell. Micah is on our team also, but I didn't know he was actually going to do our race until I saw him in the race, and he was just out here, I think, just trying to get some extra miles in before he takes his new job in Houston. Congratulations, Micah. Hate to see you go, but maybe we'll have a place to crash if we ever go do any bike races in Houston. So good luck. But he's just taking a flyer just for grins, see how that goes. And he had a pretty successful race in the 50 to 59 race. I believe he got second or third. Can't remember. So he just had a hard race. So a note about this course, there was a small change to it this year. It added in an extra chicane. I think somebody named it on Strava chicanery. And it was pretty cool. Like, it was definitely added a little bit of technicality to the course. Last year we kind of just had more of a straight shot. You could just stay on the gas the whole time. This year you did have to set up for some turns. And it made it a little bit tricky. You could clip a pedal if you really rode too aggressively. but it was pretty neat. There was a little bit of water going across the course on the backside that made it added some trust issues with the tires, but turns out the traction was really, really good. I didn't hear of anybody slipping out because of that water going across the road, so things were pretty well. Looks like we got a big move on the left, and I believe that's Bob Lemaster. Bob had one teammate out in the field, Jeff Pryor. He has recently lost some of his teammates that have moved to another team, so he and Jeff are just having to be out here by themselves today. And but both are super fit, and he's going to try to make an early go of it and see if there's anyone interested to go with him. Looks like the front of the group is pretty keen to chase right away. This is working out really well for me. I'm just sitting on Trey's wheel right now, just kind of enjoying the free ride. Doesn't mean it's easy, but definitely glad that other people are willing to make the effort to chase people down. I'm keeping a pretty close eye on Nick and Austin. I know their abilities, I know what their fitness is like, so I definitely don't want to see them sneak away. I'm also worried about Yanni too, but Yanni's I'm not sure how old Yanni is. He's either in his mid to late 50s, possibly 60. I don't think, I'm not totally sure. So he's racing our race just to get the miles in, but he's not technically eligible for the state championship jersey because he doesn't fall in that age category. So, but I'm very sure that whatever move goes up the road is going to be one of those two guys with Yanni in it. So I'm just kind of keeping a close eye and just sitting back here surfing coattails. Another big move on the left. That one's a little bit dangerous. So I'm going to definitely watch that one. And I see immediately that there's a chase going. I'm pretty confident that I've got what it takes to get across to it at this point, so I'm not panicking necessarily yet, but pretty big gap right off the front. I think that was Nick. Tough to tell from my desktop screen. When I'm doing the editing, the video is really small, so it's hard to see. You'll be able to see whenever you watch it on YouTube, but he's pretty strong, and honestly, perfectly capable of sitting out there on his own all day long. If anyone were to give him lead, so everyone knows him pretty well, and they're a little bit nervous about letting him get too far away. So it looks like we've got a pretty strong chase on the front, and I'm happy to see that, which is just going to allow me to sit back and surf wheels some more. You can tell by how splintered it was on the front as we went through that turn that attack did put a sting in everyone, and people are kind of definitely happy to let others slot in front of them so they don't have to push the gap. So that's definitely kind of a warning siren that you need to start paying pretty close attention, because that's a telltale sign, like you see little gaps in between riders here, that everyone was probably on their limit right then. The elastic was about to snap probably for some of those riders. And everyone's going to be able to make it up because it's still early in the race, but you got to watch. If that happens one, maybe two more times, that's probably going to be the move that will likely stick because everybody was just put on their limits. So now it'll come down to who can recover from that and go again, basically. And if it's not the next move, it'll likely be the move after that that usually succeeds. So let's see what happens. Here we are coming in at 17 minutes, and so far the pace has just been really, really high. A lot of riders just driving it on the front, trying to keep the pace high, get rid of the riffraff, and I've just been sitting on, honestly, not trying not to go too hard, too deep, but the pace that they've been keeping has been hard enough that it's really been hard to even stay recovered. I mean, you can see I'm sitting in at 161 right now, and I see a rider go off the front, and that's Austin. So I know, well, that's the guy I've been waiting to launch, honestly. He's the one that had success a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and so I know I cannot let that go. If I do, he'll check out and he will just be gone. And others in the field know the exact same thing. I'm not sure who's really chasing right now, but I think we got Eric Franklin coming up, as well as some other riders. Probably Yanni's pretty motivated to come across too, and they know that this is alarm bells for sure. So I launch, heart rate goes sky high for me, and 175, 176 is really high for me. So when I attach, I know I've got to be careful. I can't stay up there for very long, so I need to probably watch it closely and try not to do too much work. I'd like to get a gap, so I don't want to just leave Austin hanging up here, but at the same time, he's got a teammate in the field that's really strong, and so I've got to be really cautious. So I go ahead and come through. I'm not giving it everything I've got, but not coming off the gas too much. And Austin wants to motivate. He sees that we've got the gap. His teammate's coming up, and it looks like I can't tell if that's Franklin or Yanni back there, but we've got the good selection of riders. This should work. And so now's the time to go. So you can see Nick in my rear cam there. I did not want to slot in behind Austin, but the gap was open, so I just jump in there, and I'm hoping that this is the move. We shall see. Alright, so right about here is where I make a pretty good tactical error, pretty bad tactical error, I should say. I come off the front, let the accelerating riders come through, and I see that there's riders behind me, so I wait to follow those wheels, but they're opening up a gap, and then two of them have quite a bit of jump. That's Eric and Dan, and I can't go with that. So now I'm in a slow motion race just to try to punch back across. And Dan's feeling kind of like I am, but so he knows jump on my wheel. And now it's just a drag race to try to get back onto the group and pray to God that they don't stick the knife in right now and realize that we're back here suffering. If they knew that we were hanging off the back right now, I promise they would have put in an extra 30 watts just to eject us off. Thankfully, we got a little bit of a reprieve here through these turns and kind of risk it for the biscuit and just almost get ourselves back on. But this is one of those moments where a bike length might as well be a mile. So you can see Eric struggling to get back up and stay on that wheel, and so he's having a hell of a time. I am too, and so is Dan, and those guys are up there just driving it right now. So solid move on their part. It's definitely a crux moment, so to speak. So I'm just hoping that they come off the gas just a little bit, and maybe we can get back across. So I go right through Eric, and I see them possibly letting off just a tiny bit. So I take the opportunity to hopefully come across to them. Dan slots onto Eric's wheel, Eric comes onto mine, and now we've got a bit of a headwind going up this slight rise, and I see Austin come off the front. It's a good sign that he slots in, and when he slots in front of Troy, and that opens up a gap. And right here at this moment, we're all thinking, oh crap, this is no good. Dan knows exactly what's happening. He's been sitting on for a half lap, so he takes the opportunity to jump across no matter how bad it hurts right then. And because it's kind of a Hail Mary moment. And I've just got to sit on for a bit and hope to goodness that I'll be able to get up there eventually. So I know this is not good at this moment. I can see that they are rolling and getting a gap. And, it's 1 second out of this turn, 2 seconds out of that one. And what looked like it was going to be doable now becomes a country mile. And Austin's just inching away. Now, he doesn't have a lot of motivation because he's got a teammate up the road, so he's probably not going to pull us willingly up to that break, and I know that, but I'm really tired, so I'm just really hoping that he just keeps the power on. Just got to go through. This might have been the most frustrating part of the race. There were some splits happening, some riders getting unhinged, and the break was just so close that it was just, you could almost taste how close it was. It was just like, man, if we could have organized a little better between us riders that were on different teams, we certainly could have gotten up there to them. But this was a classic case of chasing riders, attacking each other rather than coming together to make something happen. So that disjointed approach, definitely we paid for it in the end, because the strongest riders out in the field, which we needed to be playing better tactics against, outmaneuvered us and outrode us, and this is just what happens when you don't play your cards right. So lots of horsepower back here, enough that we certainly, if we would have put it together and worked together, could have gotten up to them, but we just didn't. So we're going to finish out this race between us, and it looks like we'll be battling for 4th, 5th, and 6th most likely. So enjoy.